Good morning, boys and girls, and happy Tuesday. I'm going to be teaching a little bit more on fractions that are greater than 1, fractions greater than 1. So here's the first problem. Hopefully you can see this okay. I've tried to adjust my camera. Use this number line to answer problems 1 through 4. So we're going to solve these together, and there's going to be some that we're doing together and some that you're going to do. So again, we always want to look and see how many spaces there are here. So I see a number line that goes from 0 to 1 to 2. And I want to create a fraction bar over the section that is between 0 and 1. So I'm going to add my lines, a little bit of a squiggle line there. I'm going to add my lines here, and since there are 1, 2, 3 spaces, I am going to add 1/3 to each space, 1/3 to each space. So if I was to write these as fractions, I would have 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3. And then I would just continue out where I would have 4/3, 5/3, and 6/3. Okay? So how many equal parts are between 0 and 1? How many equal parts are between 0 and 1? There's 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts between 0 and 1. So I would write 3 because we count the spaces, the jumps that we make from 0 to the next space to the next space all the way to 1. So there would be 3 spaces. How many equal parts are between 1 and 2? Let's check. 1, 2, 3 parts as well. So there are 3. What fraction does each part show? So we know since there are 3 sections between 0 and 1 is the whole, that each of these sections is showing 1/3. So I could label, if I wanted to, each of these sections 1/3 and so on. Each of these would be 1/3. All right, so it says write and label the marks, and we already did that. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, or 1, 4/3, 5/3, 6/3, or 2. We're going to continue. Oh, I should have showed you that a little bit closer, just in case you couldn't see. All right, now each circle represents a whole, okay? So let me adjust this a little bit. So on this first circle, I notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. 6 parts, so each of these, if I was to label them, they would be 1/6. And each circle represents one whole, but they want to know what fraction does the total area shaded represent. So we're going to count the thirds. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces that are shaded, 10 pieces that are shaded, and there's a total of 6 on my whole. There's a total of 6 on my whole. So the denominator represents one whole, and the numerator represents how many are shaded on all of the shapes. What fraction does the total area shaded represent? So we're going to look at these 2 circles, these little wagon wheels. I notice that these have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. So I know my bottom number is going to be, or my denominator is going to be 8. I'm going to count the spaces that are colored in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 spaces are shaded. 9 spaces are shaded. I could label all of these 1/8, and these could be labeled 1/6 each. All right, so it's how many eighths? There are 9 eighths, and there are 8 eighths in one whole. All right, let's go on. This one shows fourths. I see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and that would be my denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of those spaces are shaded. So that would actually equal a total of 2. If I was to move this piece here and this piece here, 2 of these circles were completely shaded. I'd like you to solve this one on your own. These show 6 spaces, each of these. I want you to tell me how many are shaded over the total one circle represents. Each circle represents one whole. Remember, beyond that, we're going past one whole, and we're going to 2, and then we're going to 3. So we want to make sure that that bottom number represents what the whole is equivalent to. All right, one more problem for you. This problem is, use this number line to answer problems 5 through 7. Here's the fraction bar. I want you to complete your fraction bar and figure out what your unit fraction is and label A and B. Remember, each of these little sections between 0 and 1 is a unit fraction. So figure out how many unit fractions there are. Finish your number line and tell me what is the fraction for A, B, and C. And then you can show the answer to both of these problems. Go ahead and draw them out and show me the answer to both of these problems in either our class story or in our portfolio. I'm giving you one extra problem a day. We won't have problems next week. We won't have anything for spring break. I might do a read aloud, but other than that, we're not going to really be doing anything. And I'm probably going to do Mindful Monday just because I love doing it. But other than that, there won't be any posts. So I want you to do a little extra math this week. All right, boys and girls? So really look this over. Think about what each unit fraction would be if you have this many spaces in between 0 and 1. What would A, B, and C equal? I hope you enjoyed, and I'm looking for those answers below, or I'm looking for those answers in our class story. All right, have a fantastic Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow.